Hey there, new friend. We are so glad you found Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast for women over 50. What started as a passion project has grown into a beautiful and supportive community, and we couldn't be more grateful. Would you like to help us cover the cost of producing and growing this amazing sisterhood? When you join our Uncluttered and Unfiltered bonus club on Patreon for just $5 a month, you'll have early bird access to commercial-free video versions of our episodes, plus plenty of bonus content and some other surprises along the way. Check our show notes for a link to our Patreon and to our always free ladies-only private Facebook group. And thank you for being here.
88% of the work week is spent communicating, typing, talking, and going back and forth on topics until everyone is on the same page. It's time for a change. It's time for Grammarly. Grammarly's AI ensures your team gets the point across the first time, eliminating misunderstandings and streamlining collaboration. It goes beyond basic grammar to help tailor writing to specific audiences, whether that means adding an executive summary, fine-tuning tone, or cutting out jargon in just one click. 4 out of 5 professionals say Grammarly's AI boosts buy-in and moves work forward. It integrates seamlessly with over 500,000 apps and websites, is implemented in days, and is IT approved. Join over 70,000 teams and 30 million people who trust Grammarly to elevate their communication. Visit Grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly. Enterprise-ready AI.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back, with nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome, everybody, to another bonus episode of Uncluttered and Unfiltered Golden Bachelorette edition. We are up to episode number 5, right?
Yep, 5
of the Golden Bachelorette.
5.
And for those of you who only found us because you did a search for podcasts that are talking about the Bachelor Nation, that is not our everyday subject matter on this podcast. We talk about all things that could potentially affect women once they've turned 50 and beyond. And one of those things is that today, upon the recording of this podcast, October 18th, it's World Menopause Day.
Yes.
So happy World Menopause Day,
You
Christine.
too. But I mean, do we get a badge? Do we get a crown? Do we get something? I mean,
free dinner somewhere?
something.
Some kind of prize?
A gift certificate. You know, what do we get?
Or make way, at least. Just get out of our way. So there is a documentary that we are going to review for you. That will be our next episode, our regularly launched episode, which is coming up Thursday, on a PBS documentary called The M Factor. Really interesting stuff on menopause. I'm so glad I watched.
Oh, me too. I thought it was really informative.
Validating,
yes,
for
very
sure.
validating.
Makes you want to put it on in the background with somebody in your family that might need to hear
Right.
how
Yeah.
real menopause is.
And what it does. Yep.
So this, like I mentioned, is a mini episode. We are just separating this out so that our friends and sisters that listen on a regular basis to our podcast don't feel like they have to sit through a lot of Golden Bachelorette stuff. So let's review.
Okay.
All right, starting from the beginning, and there will be spoilers. I should
Yes,
say
spoiler
that too.
alert.
Okay, so first of all, Joan was back with the remaining guys, and those guys were, let's see if we can name them off the top of our head, Pascal, Mark, Jonathan,
Chalk.
Guy
Guy.
was still there, Keith was still there, the girl dad, and Jordan.
Yes.
I think that's everybody. I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So at this point, going into the episode, did you have any idea how it would turn out? Because I thought there was a twist. I was surprised. with what eventually did happen.
Oh,
So-
I agree.
Okay.
But you know what I loved about this week versus last week? I had Mark as the top 3. But you know what? After their one-on-one, I did not see one bit of chemistry.
Not a
because you
one.
kind of got to know him. And that's how funny men and women are. Like, he thought the date went fabulous and he was a shoo-in. And she was like, no,
Yeah.
he was so boring, in my
Yes.
opinion.
So boring. It was so uncomfortable to watch them sitting in silence. So
Yes.
So obviously, since we told you there would be spoilers, you've probably seen it. So yes, Mark left the show before the rose ceremony because Joan came to him after their date, a date where when they were on this boat together. Now, I know that there are going to be little pieces of silence anytime two people are just sitting together.
Right.
And yes, we know the editors went through and they
Right.
probably tried to make sure these looked really long and awkward. But they were very effective in that because I was so cringed out by this boat situation. I couldn't wait for the date to be over. Could not wait.
Me too.
And
it
I
was
feel like
awkward.
So is he going to be the next Golden Bachelor? I used to think so, but I don't think he's got the charisma.
I used to think so too. And unless they do some training or something with him, if I have to hear one more story, the hummingbird story, and
Oh.
listen, I have compassion. I really do.
Yeah.
But these people have not, it's not like they died last week. This has been a long time. And I think if you're still that emotionally upset, you should not be on these kind of shows. There's not a lot of humor or fun in this season at
Yes.
all. Even my husband, who has not watched at all except Wednesday night, said this is so depressing.
So
It's
depressing.
just depressing.
There was a scene where Joan, and a few times every episode, she breaks down and talks about John, her late
A
husband.
few times? Oh my God.
Nonstop.
No, thank you.
Okay, so nonstop. So Trista comes out. Now, Trista was the original Bachelorette.
With Charlie and what was
she
his
ended up
name?
with Ryan.
Ryan, but it was between
yes.
Ryan and Charlie. It was
Yes.
such a big deal because
But she's still with Ryan,
yes,
which is
yes, she's
very,
still with
very
Ryan,
rare.
had kids with him the whole 9
So
years.
she comes in and she's sitting down with Joan and she starts to talk about how John, now she's not basing this on knowing him, on
Right.
being in a similar situation, nothing. She's like, John would want you to move on. He would want this. And so I turned to my husband and I said to him, I just want to say something for the record. I wouldn't want this. I wouldn't. If you're sitting on the set of the Golden Bachelor and someone is trying to tell you, Eden would want this. She would want to see you be happy. I would not. And I would not want to see, yes, I want to see you be happy, but I would not want to see you doing it on the Golden Bachelor. So just in case anyone tries to convince you that this is what I would want, because you're not going to tell me that this John would want her kissing multiple men
right.
on this show. I'm not taking away anything from these women finding love. Do it, but let's not overanalyze what John would want, because I don't think John, just like Tony, the late wife of Gary, you can't tell me she wasn't like a whirling dervish in her grave. This was terrible.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I also, people, when they're watching this, they think maybe it was a week ago that the person passed the way they're acting.
Right.
It's been years,
6 years for Mark's wife.
her.
Yeah.
And then Mark, the one who's no longer on anymore, with the hummingbird and how she flew in to tell him, listen, I'm a big believer in signs, but she's been dead a long time and he is so emotional. And my husband, and I love this man to death, and we've been married 36 years. 6 years later, he would probably be on wife number 3. I mean, I don't think he's sitting in a corner crying, and he loves me and I love him, but it's just a little, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I agree. Mitch loves you.
Right.
But he's also
a
like
golfer.
Steve, like my husband, I think 6 years he could get through a sentence without bringing my name up. I think. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure.
mean, if not, this is my point. Why are you on this show?
So
if
maybe
not,
if I'm an attorney I'm going to start putting a clause in the wills
Oh, I love it.
of my older clientele saying, okay, just so there's no confusion, do you think you'll be coming back as a hummingbird to give your blessing if he goes on the Golden Bachelor? And to which I'm going to say, make no mistake, I don't want you. This isn't what I want. It doesn't matter what I want. I'm gone.
Right.
But don't you dare sit on ABC with Jesse Palmer and say that this is what she would have loved, because I wouldn't love it.
I mean, I think the whole thing just makes me laugh because I don't think she's going to pick any one of them. And if she does pick one, I feel it will maybe be chalk. Jordan, I think, could be a sleeper in the scheme of things. She is not ready for a serious relationship, period. End of story.
Which is why I want to talk up my favorite of these guys that are remaining. And of the remaining guys, sadly, we said goodbye to Keith and then also Jonathan. Yuck. I was ready for him to go.
I was so ready for him to go.
Just pulling the whole invisible, see me, I see you, you hear me, I'm felt, I feel. No. Keith, good guy. So it was a shame to see him go. But I think everybody's not surprised with who we're left with.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing about my favorite now. He is now Pascal. I love this guy. I did not like him the first few episodes. Now, I don't like him as a long-term relationship. I like him as somebody she can hang out with him and have a good time with. He is there strictly for the fun of it, the seduction of it, the notoriety of it, the credit. And also, he's the guy's guy. Who saw that coming? He was the guy who really looked empathetic for Mark. He was like really going to miss him. He was so sad. He's like, I'm going to miss him. He's my best friend. I think he's enjoying the guy part of it more than any of it.
And that's what I said.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Looking to make a positive change? Sober October is the perfect time to be more mindful about your alcohol consumption. Whether you're aiming to cut back or take a complete break, October offers a great opportunity to experience the benefits like improved sleep, reduced stress, and a boost to your mental health. Join Hearts for Minds and discover a world of delicious non-alcoholic options with a free ebook, Mocktails with Meaning, featuring curated recipes from expert mixologists to help you celebrate mindfully. It's easy to incorporate non-alcoholic drinks into your social life and enjoy the same flavors and fun without the alcohol. So this October, raise a glass to your well-being. Join the movement, support Hearts for Minds, and discover the joy of mindful drinking. Check out the free ebook at heartsforminds.org and in our show notes.
Last week is the most touching thing about this whole entire season is that these men really enjoyed all hanging out together for however long it was, 2-3 weeks, whatever it was, and them showing their emotions on how much they're going to miss these friendships and how I think there will be lasting friendships. But I think Joan is also just trying to find a bunch of friends. And that being said, I would like Pascal as my friend. I would love to see if he's a really good hairdresser. I would be the first one to step up and say, do a nice long layered French haircut and let me see how it looks. So she's got that going for her.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's going to be into him.
I don't think she's going to be into him, but I could see him being the best choice for her right now because he also is not looking for anything serious. He's not settling down with Joan. He doesn't even seem to want to. He rarely talks about her. He's just about he's at camp.
Yes.
He's having a good old time at camp. And
let's talk about Guy real quick, the ER doctor.
Okay.
I'm doing that in air quotes. We found out he has a restraining order. Or he did. It's not active right now.
Right.
with his ex-wife, and he had to go online and explain the situation, blah, blah, blah.
Tensions were high.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation.
Yeah,
He's
right.
not the man he was.
Right. And that's why they let it through,
Yeah.
because they said they knew about it, but they still let him come on anyway. Anyway, he's another one that I think they have no chemistry.
Yeah, I don't see
whatsoever.
any chemistry there.
I mean, at all. When they were cooking, it was so boring. I think he's another one that it's just boring to watch the two of them together. And Chalk is the overachiever. Like he's love bombing her. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, let's get into Chalk now. Let's get into Chalk. He is 100% a love bomber.
Oh, 100.
Which is a phrase tossed around a lot by the younger generation these days
Yep.
as it relates to being a narcissist, which I also believe is what Chalk is. Chalk, there was this great scene at the bowling alley.
Ugh.
So Chalk gets all up around her. And he's unapologetic. He's like, I don't care. Even Guy was like, hey, let us all have a chance.
Yes,
You know,
that's
he's
what
like,
I
don't
wrote.
care. So he's saying things to her like, so what side of the bed do you like?
Mhm.
And we're just over here going, bleh, bleh.
I was.
He gets up to go bowl. Guy slides in there, and my husband yells, that a boy, Guy,
Yeah.
get in there, get in there.
Well, I think Chalk is playing the game now.
Yeah.
Finally, someone is really playing the game, which
Yeah.
is, I don't care if you don't like me. I want her.
Which is something the young ladies do a lot on
Yep.
the regular Bachelor.
Yep, I agree. So that's the only, if she is naive to fall for his love bombing, that's the only way I think she'll pick him. But do I think they'll get married or have a wedding on ABC? Absolutely not. I don't think she's marrying anybody. Nobody.
Jordan is definitely the sleeper. We've said this before.
Yeah, I think.
He so isn't the guy you think of. He's always the last one you remember when you're
Right.
saying. And yet I said this the other day. I thought he would be the sleeper because he's definitely athletic.
Yep.
He kind of reminds me of like a lot of dudes I know.
Right, right.
So he kind of seems very normal.
Yes.
And like down to earth.
I
And like-
think so too.
Like he's probably like just every divorced dad you've
Yeah.
ever met. You know, that is a good person and is
Yeah.
just doing his best by
Yep.
his kids and just, you know. So I think he's definitely a catch, a definite catch.
Yeah.
I could see her picking him if she was very serious and very flexible.
Right.
But I don't think that's what we're talking about with Joan. I don't know. I think it's between Pascal and Guy. Just because Chalk is so icky, Jordan seems so like you wouldn't want to mess with his world. Like he just seems like he's got a normal world going on and you wouldn't want to mess it up.
I just think it's going to be a crier. Like she's going to be crying
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
she's going to do one of these like, I like all of you.
Yes.
You all have been the best thing that ever happened to me to try to finally move on.
Yes.
But what's his name? The ex-widow or
Oh,
husband?
Mark.
Mark. But I still feel that I am not over Mark. But I love
John. No,
or
John. I was thinking of the widow.
But
Okay.
I love all of you, and I hope we can stay friends and
Yes.
and have a great time. But I thought I was ready, but I'm not.
I
one-
agree that could
it
potentially
could.
be how it goes.
Could.
In fact, I saw a reel that she did. She's doing all the social media.
Oh, yeah.
And she's with her friends and they're watching an episode. And then at the end, she's like, okay, who do you guys, if I pick someone, who do you think it's going to be? Who do you think if I pick someone? And so you've never heard anyone say, if I pick someone before, right?
No.
I haven't either.
I definitely think this is going to be one of those where they do the cliffhanger. Like the cliffhanger is going to be where she has two guys, but she's crying in a room somewhere. And you know what I mean? Like it's going to be high drama. It's not going to be easy because getting to know her, I'm just going to say this. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm getting that from you.
Yeah, I'm
also
not
feel-
a huge fan.
Last week she grew on me a little bit, but it slipped again this week
Yeah.
because there's just not a lot of warmth there in my mind.
Not warmth. That's the key. I don't think she doesn't bring warm fuzzies.
Yeah,
At all.
Everything's very
Serious.
and like even her. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no humor to anything.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, she's not a very lighthearted, bubbly person.
No.
And I think that's what we're craving when we're watching a show like that, which is what I think I love about Pascal. I think he's just so funny. That's why I wrote down like Snoop Dogg there. I'm like, he's like the Snoop Dogg of the episode. He's just funny and supportive. And he's like, you go. And he like loves these guys.
I don't think he'll make it to the top 2, though.
Pascal?
No.
I could see
Maybe
that.
top 3, but not top 2. I definitely think it will be 2 guys that you think, okay, if she picks either, whatever. I still don't think she's picking anyone.
I know. And
Hometowns will be interesting.
Chalk just makes me feel icky. But
I say he is a true love bomber. Like,
Yeah.
I love, like, he's already saying all the,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even really know her.
he has this look in his eye, too, about winning. Like, all of a
Yes.
sudden, it's like, oh, it's on. It's
Yeah.
on. I came back.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm in for hometowns. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing this through to the end.
Yes.
But hometowns are going to be interesting because I want to know if even her kids have more of a sense of humor and or is the whole family serious? So it'll be interesting to see how their kids are.
Yeah.
All of them, like Chalk's kids. I mean, you want to know.
I watched another reel of her with her daughter, and Joan's
saw
daughter,
that.
the one talking about picking them up. He has to come to the door.
Yep.
What was something you learned about
Yes.
men from me or something? and
Yeah.
that they have to come to the door.
Yeah,
to
me
your
too.
daughter, but she seemed pretty upbeat and fun. So we'll see. The other thing I wanted to point out that is Jesse Palmer. Now I know that he just had a child at the end of the last season, or I think that's
I
what
don't
was
know.
happening. I don't know. I feel like there was something where he could be called away at any moment.
I
think
still like the other guy that left.
who's that?
Remember the guy they
No,
had forever? And
Yeah, I
then there
didn't
was
used to
some
watch.
scandal because
Yes, I do.
You know what I
remember.
mean?
But Jesse Palmer
he stepped in.
appears to have distanced himself over the past few weeks.
Yep.
And he's only ever been in one scene in both this week and last week. And it was the scene where he always says, "This is the final
Yes.
rose." And so we get a big kick out of that now because my husband thinks he always yells, "Jesse Palmer stealing the money,"
Yep.
so he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But we thought last week it was because it was the male stripper stuff. He just didn't want to get
Right.
associated with it. But
Right.
he wasn't in it at all this week.
Yeah,
either.
I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not a huge fan, but he did step up into a very hard role to replace the guy that used to do it, which I can't believe I can't remember his name, which in the menopause episode, it says you have brain fog.
Brain fog. We're
Yeah.
going to cover that like
Yeah.
crazy. I hope everyone, even if you're just finding a Golden Bachelorette, I hope you'll give us a shot because chances are, if you're invested in this show, you probably are also invested in things like, menopause.
Yes.
So these are the kind of things we do discuss. Everything that has to do with being over 50 and a lot of organizational tips too. Christine is a professional organizer. And in the course of just hanging out with someone like her, you're going to pick up things. That's just the way it is. You're going to come out.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. You're going to get your shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will hopefully see you on one of our regular episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Bye.
Hey there, new friend. We are so glad you found Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast for women over 50. What started as a passion project has grown into a beautiful and supportive community, and we couldn't be more grateful. Would you like to help us cover the cost of producing and growing this amazing sisterhood? When you join our Uncluttered and Unfiltered bonus club on Patreon for just $5 a month, you'll have early bird access to commercial-free video versions of our episodes, plus plenty of bonus content and some other surprises along the way. Check our show notes for a link to our Patreon and to our always free ladies-only private Facebook group. And thank you for being here.
Professionals spend nearly half the workweek on written communication, so focus is important. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, focus and quickly get through work with relevant real-time suggestions. And it works across 500,000 apps and websites, so you can sound more confident and persuasive wherever you write. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouthwatering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.